Welcome, everyone. Really glad you're joining us today. We'll give folks a minute or so to dial in. So good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are dialing from, and feel free to get that cup of coffee, and we'll start right away. Great. I think most of the folks have dialed in, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much again for joining us. Whether you are an SRE who's deep in the weeds of incident response or a reliability leader thinking about where to take your team next, this session is built for you. We are going to talk about what's making SRE work harder than it needs to be and what a more agentic approach to IT operations actually looks like in practice. So let's get into it. Here's how we plan to spend the next 30 minutes or so. We'll start with the business context, why reliability has become a board level concern. Then we'll get honest about what incident response actually looks like day to day and why so many SRE teams are stuck in a reactive loop. From there, we'll take you through a live demo, and we'll close with results from real customers and a clear path forward if you want to take this further. In terms of quick intros, I'm joined today by Travis Evenson, who's from our sales engineering team. And Trevor has been working with our customers for a long time in helping them realize value out of BigPanda. And my name is Manish Agarwal, and I work on our product marketing team. And we are both really excited to be here today. All right, so let's dive in. Let's start with some numbers because we think they help frame the urgency here. Downtime isn't just a technical inconvenience. For most of the large enterprises, it's costing an average of nearly $24,000 per minute. And that's not just the infrastructure cost. That's revenue, customer trust, brand equity, broken customer experiences that lead to all of this cost. And when you dig deeper, nearly 85% of enterprises say a single hour of downtime costs them more than $300,000. These aren't edge cases, but this is the baseline reality for most of the enterprises, and they run into this every day. But here's the number that sticks with me the most. Over 30% of SRE time is consumed by operational toil. That's manual work. And that is not a rounding error. That's almost a third of the SRE's engineering capacity going to low-value, repetitive work that could have been avoided. And according to the latest research, it's rising. And then there's the investigation problem. SREs are spending an average of 23 minutes just gathering context when an escalation happens, even before they can start solving the escalation. Meanwhile, 70% of incidents now cross the $100,000 threshold, and that's nearly double, up from 39% just a few years ago. The point of all this is that this isn't getting easier on its own, and something has to change on how enterprises tackle this and how SRE teams operate to make this problem go away. And so this slide must look familiar to a lot of you. This is what an incident looks like in the real world, right? Not in the runbook, but in reality. It starts with an alert firing, but what typically happens is that wrong teams or people are paged, and they don't even have context. And then, so the first thing that happens is that the context hunting begins. Someone is manually searching across Datadog, PagerDuty, ServiceNow, Slack, Splunk, just trying to figure out what's actually broken and what caused it. Then you get the different silos forming. Teams are working off different data, duplicating effort, and the root cause, rather than being revealed, stays unclear longer than it should. By the time that teams have a little bit of context, a bridge call has already been spun up with too many people, most of whom might not even need to be there in the first place. And as all of this is happening, knowledge stays locked into people's heads, in email inboxes, in attachments. And the next time a similar incident fires, the whole cycle just repeats itself. And Even when that incident is finally closed, on average, 7 hours of manual post-incident work is required, writing up the report, capturing learnings that honestly often don't even make it into the next runbook or knowledge base. And so this is the loop that SRE teams are stuck in. And it's a design problem, not a people problem. And so let's dive a little bit deeper on why SRE teams are stuck in this reactive mode. There are these 6 forces that keep the SRE teams in that continuous reactive firefighting mode, and they compound each other. Manual toil is the base layer, whether it is alert triage, ticket routing, runbook lookups, status updates, it never fully goes away, and it crowds out the valuable engineering time. On top of that, the L1 teams are drowning in alert noise, which pulls SREs into escalations that they shouldn't have to touch in the first place, and L1 teams should be empowered to solve them themselves. Then we talked about the data silos. Your observability tools aren't talking to your ITSM, your ITSM isn't talking to your change pipeline, and so when an incident fires, you're assembling context from 5 different places by hand. And when it's over, the learnings don't get captured in a reusable way. So teams repeat the same investigations over and over again without any benefits. Changes reach production without a real risk assessment. And underneath all of this, there's simply no time to build reliability or automation, the core of what SREs really want to do, because they are always in that fighting, in that reactive mode and firefighting mode. So what we are hearing from SREs is that they actually need prevention and not just faster detection. They want to be able to measure reliability in a better way. And they want time to engineer, not just respond. And this is really where the BigPanda agentic IT operations platform comes into the picture. The platform is built around 3 main pillars, each targeting a different phase of the incident lifecycle. AI incident prevention is the proactive layer, scoring change risk before deployment, surfacing recurring problem patterns, keeping bad changes from becoming incidents in the first place. Next, we have AI detection and response, which handles the NOC, your network operations team, or the L1 layer. It is helping correlate alerts, reduce noise, and automatically route actionable incidents to the right people and the right teams without the human triage. And last but not the least, AI Incident Assistant, which is the agentic layer for that major incident investigation, collaboration, and resolution. It surfaces context, automates communications, and captures learnings. And what really ties all of this together is the IT knowledge graph. That is our differentiator. It's a continuously learning and evolving model of your environment. It looks at your signals, your dependencies, the topology, the historical incidents, all of the changes, and brings everything into context. It's what gives every insight in the platform its context and explainability, so that you're not operating out of a black box. So this isn't AI, operating on a flat stream of alerts. It's AI that's contextual. It's AI that understands how your systems actually behave and relate to each other and learns from it over time. And that is what differentiates our platform. I do want to spend a moment on this because what we have been hearing from SREs are these challenges over and over again. That is what we hear in each conversation. Manual toil, alert noise, data silos, lost learnings, unclear change impact, and reactive operations. These aren't abstract problems. They are the reasons SREs are working weekends and burning out. And then the right column shows the direct specific response from BigPanda and how BigPanda solves each of these challenges for SREs, whether it is triage agent for toil, event intelligence for noise reduction. Customers are cutting alert volume by up to 97% or even 99% in cases. Incident correlation to break down those silos, our incident assistant for capturing and reusing knowledge, change risk scoring so that incidents are prevented before deployment hits production, and the problem management dashboard for surfacing the recurring patterns proactively. And again, the other thing to call out here is that BigPanda doesn't replace your observability tools. Those stay, BigPanda is the intelligence layer on top, connecting everything and making it actionable. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Trevor. Trevor, take it away.
Thank you, Manish. So in the demo today, we're going to talk about a fictitious company, and I want to just set the stage for it. This company is called NovaPay. They're a B2B payment processing platform serving enterprise clients across financial services, logistics, and retail. It processes 2 billion plus in transactions weekly and has contractual SLAs to the point where SLO breaches trigger financial penalties, and uptime is directly tied to client retention. Within this company, we have Sam, who's a senior SRE. He's on call. He's been at NovaPay for 6 years. He's a good engineer, but he's buried in operational toil. We also have the L1 NOC team, who monitor and handle first line response, and they escalate when they get overwhelmed. And finally, the executive bench, CTO, the VP of products, client success leads, and they kind of stay out of the weeds until they don't. So the platform state is that Novadog has Datadog, PagerDuty, and ServiceNow, and Slack. Alerts fire from 7 different tools. Runbooks live in Confluence, but many of them are out of date. L1 operators do their best, but they escalate constantly because they lack context. And SREs like Sam spend 30% of their week on bridge calls, chasing down information that they should have had right in front of them. So to set the stage for the demo, I want to tell you about what this would look like without BigPanda. It's 11:32 on a Friday. Sam, our on-call SRE, gets paged. The payment gateway is throwing 502s on the transaction submission endpoint. The error rate just hit 34%. He opens PagerDuty, sees 2 alerts, opens Datadog, sees 19. He doesn't know which of those 19 actually matter. He starts manually correlating. He checks the load balancer, healthy, checks the payment DB, good, checks the auth service. Something's wrong there, but it's timing out, so you can't tell if it's a cause or a symptom. Meanwhile, 11:39, a ServiceNow ticket comes in from the NOC. 3 enterprise clients are down. Terra Logistics is on the phone, and Mega Retail's VP has called the support line personally. The NOC tried the standard reset procedure. It didn't work. There's no runbook for this specific failure mode. By 11:47, Sam's on a bridge call. There are 14 people on it. 5 of them know why they're there. 3 of them are writing things down that they'll forget. 4 are wanting to know when they can go back to sleep, and 2 are silently panicking. Nobody has sent an exec update. Nobody has figured out the root cause. Nobody has thought about what this means for the code update that was deployed today. This is the Friday night that becomes a Monday morning problem. Sam will spend his weekend on bridge calls and writing up the postmortem that nobody will read before the next incident hits. Now let me show you what this would look like in BigPanda. So the same Friday, same 11:32, but NovaPay is now running BigPanda. The moment the first alert fires, payment gateway error rate increasing, BigPanda's AI detection and response is already working on it. Not waiting for somebody to open a dashboard. It's correlating across Datadog, ServiceNow, the ServiceNow queue, PagerDuty, and the changelog simultaneously. We can see right here at the top of our screen, we have a correlated incident with 16 alerts. And if we look in this, we can see a lot of the details that we talked about. We can see this is for the auth service. It's impacting the payment gateway. We can look at a lot of details on the specific alerts, but the reality is we don't have to, because BigPanda has already done a lot of this work for us. We've brought up an AI analysis that gives us a specific title that gives us a rundown of what's actually happening. We have a summary that provides much more detail on exactly how things have come to be. And more importantly, we have a root cause that points us towards a change that occurred, and that's why we're calling it out. Now, a lot of this also comes in because we were able to use the knowledge graph to pull in information from an issue that happened 4 months ago with very similar bones. And that was never brought into traditional documentation, but it was still in the ticket. So we were able to use that information to pull back this detail and assign this to call out that this change has caused this problem. So with that, the AI overview goes ahead and says, hey, go ahead and assign this to net engineering, send them this information, and Sam doesn't even get paged. because all the information is here. We also tie in the service desk tickets for all the people that called in. We tie in all the historical incidents for when this has happened in the past, and that's how we get that context. And so we're able to shortcut and empower the L1 team to be able to solve this issue without having to page the SRE. So for SREs, this is profound, not just because it's fast, but because every time your L1 team resolves something at their level, that's engineering time that you get back. It's 30% of your toil that you can start clawing back. Every unnecessary escalation that doesn't reach you is an hour you spend on reliability work instead of bridge calls. Now, not every incident can be handled at L1. Sometimes you've got a more complex cross-domain failure that doesn't have an associated runbook, a correlated change, something new, something Sam is going to get paged. And that's okay. What's not okay is Sam spending the first 23 minutes of that incident just gathering context before he even starts solving. So let me show you a different scenario. This one, Sam gets paged legitimately. It's a major incident. Payment processing is degraded across the US, and it's complex enough that L1 can't contain it. BigPanda creates the incident, and then AIA goes to work. AIA is our AI incident assistant. And we can see here that the ticket has been sent to a major incident, and we can see here that we have the details about this auth cluster certificate rotation failure. This is actually the same issue that we saw in BigPanda, but we're just going to pretend that we don't have the solution for it. So the first thing you see in here is we have all of the details, summary, highlight of the root cause, the root cause in the summary. And then we have a bunch of tasks that we can do, including troubleshooting, starting channel. And so we know that this is a complex issue. We don't have a solution for it. We're going to need to bring some people in. So I can click Start Channel. And this is going to go ahead and ask me what I want to do. I give it a title, I give it a channel name, incident description, and then I can specify that I want to create a bridge call, transcribe the bridge call, and specify the teams that I want to bring into it. I click Submit. This automatically creates a Slack channel for this particular situation. It sends me a link, and it's going to go ahead and also page out all the people that need to be brought into this. So as I click this incident channel, now I see at the top an incident banner. And this is going to give me the summary of where we are currently, the current impact, the current suspected root cause, and all of the related links. So right now we are spinning up the Zoom call. Transcription is going to be turned on. We've created a ServiceNow ticket, and we can also link back to the BigPanda incident. Next thing we have here is we have action items. So all the things that are being discussed on the call and in the Slack channel get captured and brought in so that we can keep everyone up to date. So the first thing that most major incidents get wrong is who's in the room. Sam gets dragged into a bridge call with 14 people. BigPanda looks at the incident, the blast radius, and the services involved, the change history, and assembles a focused channel in Slack. The right infrastructure SRE, the payment domains lead, and the engineer who owns auth service. Not 14 people, 5. So everyone joins the channel already knowing why they're there. AIA has already posted a live incident summary, what's affected, what we know so far, and what's already been tried. While Sam is looking at the incident, AIA is also looking at the incident. We can come in here, we can click on troubleshoot. It's going to go out and pull back some additional information for how we can help out. In the meantime, the team is having this discussion. Cross-referencing changes, it's searching historical records, including Slack conversations. Meanwhile, across the organization, stakeholders are being kept informed without anyone manually writing an update, right? You can program this depending on the severity of the issue to send updates to different groups every certain amount of time. So maybe every 15 minutes, we're going to send an update to our executive leadership. Every 30 minutes, we're going to send an update to all stakeholders. All of that can be generated by AI. You can have a person in the middle to make sure that you like the messaging. But these are things that oftentimes take SREs and major incident managers a significant amount of time to handle. Even outside of just trying to solve the incident is all the communication. So we can see that we're coming along very well. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm going to say root cause identified. And we're going to see that will update here on our action items. And now we're going to go ahead and resolve this. So on resolve, You can program it to automatically send out and generate a postmortem. This is not programmed at that point in that currently, so I'm going to click postmortem. And this is going to ask me what I want to do. It's very basic. I'm going to do the entire channel. I'm going to click submit. So what would normally happen is Sam would spend the next several hours, if not more than that, working on gathering all the details and bringing it all together and writing this up all manually. BigPanda is doing this right now, and it's done. So rather than spending hours or sometimes days coming up with a root cause analysis, BigPanda did it in 20 seconds. I click on that analysis, I can see all the details, and this is going to be based on a template that you already have to make sure that all the information that you want, it can be edited as necessary and it can be shared. But we have our summary, we have our start, end date, duration, impacted users, affected services, description, resolution, timeline for how things all went, follow-up actions identified that were discussed on the call. We can send these out to the people that own them, and then suggested follow-up action items. So even outside of the ones that were talked about on the call, BigPanda is going to go out and say, hey, here's some other best practices that you should follow, and we're going to assign those to people. Take that all the way down, and we can get to the event log with all the details, step by step, exactly what was discussed. The very powerful capabilities, and this is all stored within BigPanda and then indexed for use in the next incident, right? So if it ever happens again, we'll have all this context, and it will make that next system allow us to resolve that next issue much more quickly. So imagine for a minute, though, I tell you what, I want to stay on this for a second. One of the biggest SRE pain points isn't even the incident itself. It's the knowledge that disappears when the incident closes. The tribal knowledge that lives in one engineer's head, the resolution that got typed into Slack and never made it into a runbook. BigPanda makes every incident a learning event that compounds. The platform gets smarter with every resolution. Your team gets collectively smarter with every resolution. That's how you break the firefighting cycle. So all the information from that Slack channel, everything from this postmortem, everything from the bridge call can be added into your knowledge and made available for the future. Now imagine if we could do even better. Imagine if we could set this up and move you from reactive to proactive. That's where our third layer comes in, and we call it incident prevention. Part of the incident prevention is our change risk dashboard. Since Monday morning, NovaPay has 3 changes queued for the deployment window: dependency update to auth service, a database schema migration, a config change to the payment routing rules. With BigPanda's AI incident prevention, each of those changes gets scored before it goes anywhere near production. Not just a high, medium, low, traffic light scoring, actual risk assessment based on what services does this change touch, what blast radius is if it fails, has this type of change caused incidents before, how recently was the service last changed, and what's the current load pattern on the system it touches. The auth service dependency update gets a high risk score. BigPanda surfaces the reason. Specific combination of auth service payment gateway release in the same window has correlated with 2 incidents in the past 12 months. It recommends sequencing those changes, not deploying them simultaneously. Now, I don't have those specific changes in here, but I'll show you what this looks like. Within the change risk assessment, we have a full detail of all the issues, all the change that's coming in, all of your start ends, all of your assignment groups, all of your change plans, justifications, test plans, backup plan, all of your declared risk, approval statuses, affected CIs, related change tasks. This is all basic information that we get out of ServiceNow. We can look at the historical analysis and see what the success rate is in the past based on various capabilities. But what's really is, and we can look at things, the same thing for teams and the org. But we take that and we put it all together into this risk prediction. And within this, we have 5 different categories. We have implementation risk, topological impact, team and individual risk, historical incident risk, and organization-specific risk. Implementation risk is based on the change plan quality, the implementation complexity, and the change characteristics. So the more complex the change, the higher this risk score is going to be. Topological impact is going to be based on what the environment is. Is this a tier 1 environment? Is this tier 2? Is this prod? Is this dev? Is this a single point of failure? That's going to impact the topological. And then team and individual risk is one of the most interesting. Based on the past experiences of the teams that are doing the implementation, we are going to assign a risk. So if you're a team that has historically had a lot of impact by your changes in causing incidents, you're going to get a higher risk rating than the team that rarely has an impact by their changes. That could just be that you're working on more complex systems, or it could be that maybe you need to be more careful and you need to consider more pieces of information. And then the historical incident risk. Based on this incident, how likely is it that based on the history of this incident, how likely is it to cause incidents? And then you can do organization-specific risk, which is really a catch-all for anything else that you want to include into this. So what we see here is we have a risk score of 84. 84 is too high. Our organization, NovaPay, doesn't allow any implementations less than it's with a risk score of over 70. So we can come down and we can look at the risk reasoning. This is why we've rated this as an 84. And in addition to just giving you the reasoning, we also give you suggested mitigations. So you can go through, your team can go through and start working on this mitigation. Now, what's also important in this is we're looking at this in a view where not everyone might have access to. So if we want to view this in ServiceNow, which is where most of the teams that are working on these changes will be, we can see right here, we actually provide all this information right here to those teams. And so they can, as they are working towards this change, they will know our risk score is too high. We need to get this down. Here's our suggested mitigations. And as they implement these mitigations in real time, we will update their scoring. And once they get to the point where they have reached a reasonable score under 70, then they'll automatically be assigned to CAB, and they'll be allowed to proceed with their change. So Sam's team adjusted their deployment plan. The incident that was going to happen on Tuesday, the one that was going to become a bridge call, another postmortem, it doesn't happen. So now you've avoided the incident altogether. Instead of having to worry about your response, you worried about your implementation. And then we can look at the change analytics dashboard, and we can understand exactly how we're doing. We're improving. We've got some top performing teams. We've got risky teams. And we can understand, how many risky changes identified, what our success rate is. And so we can really start to use this information to prevent prevent incidents before they happen. So let's bring this back to the NovaPay scenario. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we're going to get back into slides. So let's bring this back to the NovaPay scenario. Without BigPanda, 19 alerts, 14-person bridge call, 23-minute gathering context, post-mortem written at 2 a.m., tribal knowledge that evaporates when the incident closes, a deployment that causes a major outage. With BigPanda, L1 resolution that L1 resolves what they can. Sam gets pulled in when he genuinely needs to be, and when he is, he walks in armed, not blind. Comms run without him, knowledge compounds after every incident, and with incident prevention, the next deployment is a risk score decision that stops the incident from ever happening. That's the full life cycle: detect, respond, learn, prevent. And that's what it looks like when SREs actually get to do the job they were hired to do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Trevor. That was a great demo indeed, looking at the platform end to end, the full incident lifecycle, as you said, all the way from detection and response to incident assistant and incident prevention. And even though, as Trevor mentioned, NovaPay is imaginary, but what is very real are the results that our enterprise customers are seeing. 72 to 90% MTTR reduction. That's incidents being resolved 4 to 10 times faster. Almost a 43% reduction in ticket volume across 17 of our largest enterprise customers. And all of them are seeing almost a 430% median ROI with a payback period of less than 1 year. And at the very top end, we see revenue protected annually of up to $22 million per customers. And as I said, these are real results with our largest enterprise customers, and they are all from our business value assessment report, which clearly shows that the operational impact is measurable, it happens quickly, and it compounds over time as the IT knowledge graph learns your environment and gets more contextual with your data, your alerts, your institutional knowledge, your historical incidents. The business value report is linked in the resources. So please make sure to check it out. I do want to zoom out for a second, because what we are seeing is that this shift isn't just about BigPanda. It's where the entire industry is heading. Gartner is projecting that 85% of enterprises will be running SRE practices by 2029, almost 3 times more, up from 31% today. 60% of SREs will be offloading routine incident tasks, that manual toil, the repetitive work that we talked about, to AI agents by that same time frame. And the last one is particularly interesting. 70% of organizations will require explainable AI for agentic SRE actions, meaning black box automation won't be trusted. Teams will need to know and see the reasoning behind every AI decision, because there will be that human in the loop. And that's something BigPanda is built for from the ground up. Every insight includes data lineage and reasoning, so your team can act confidently rather than just hoping that automation is right. The SRE teams that are building these capabilities now aren't just improving efficiencies, they are setting the reliability standards for their entire organizations and the industry as a whole. And so hopefully all of this has resonated with you. And so here are a few ways to go deeper. If you want to see BigPanda configured specifically for your environment and tools, request a personalized demo from our website. We will tailor it to your stack. If you want to understand the specific ROI and operational impact for your organization, similar to the numbers on the previous slide, then we can do a business value assessment, which is the fastest path to get those numbers. It's a structured conversation with our team that will produce numbers that are relevant to your stack and to your scenarios. And we encourage you to visit our website and our SRE solutions page to explore a ton of resources there. We already talked about the business value assessment report, our agentic IT ops blog, and so we will have all of those listed in the resources as well. With that, let's look at some of the questions that have come in. So we have a question here, Trevor, asking that there is a mix of legacy and modern monitoring tools. So how long does integration with BigPanda realistically take?
Yeah, that's a great question. BigPanda is purpose-built for heterogeneous environments. The IT knowledge graph is designed to ingest from any source without requiring you to change your tooling. Most of our customers see meaningful noise reduction within the first few weeks of connecting their primary observability tools. We follow a white glove approach for implementation, and our PS team will work with your team to get BigPanda up and running. And we usually measure that implementation time in weeks, not quarters.
That's great. This one will, many people can identify with this one. Like, budgets are really tight, right? Like, teams are being asked to do more with less. So how can folks make that ROI case for BigPanda to their leadership teams?
Yeah, so you touched on it briefly. BigPanda has a business value assessment framework that models the value proposition specifically for your environment. And all we need is an ITSM export and a few other details, and we can calculate your estimated return on investment. From a sampling of a quarter of our customers, the median came into about 430% ROI with payback in under a year. The number that tends to land hardest with leadership is the protected revenue figure. BigPanda customers prevented an average of 21.8 million in annual revenue loss.
That's great. Yeah, and we touched upon these numbers, but yeah, these are so important to building that case, even if you want to build out a POV and to sort of move to that phase of getting BigPanda integrated into your solution and your stack. We saw AI incident assistant and how it surfaces the root cause. So how much can that be trusted? Like we talked about how explainability is important, right? So if you can just delve a little bit more deeper into that explainability so that it doesn't come across as a black box.
Yeah, so that skepticism is normal, right? That's exactly why every IA suggestion includes its reasoning and source attribution. When AI surfaces a probable root cause, shows you which signals led to that conclusion, which historical incidents it's drawing from, and what the confidence level is and why. So every insight is traceable back to the real data in your environment.
Awesome. We looked at AI incident prevention and how that can help with the change board and changes being implemented. but the change risk scoring and how it's implemented is different across different organizations, right? Like what happens when a model says don't deploy, but the business is pushing for the release anyways?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty common problem, right? But the reality is, BigPanda gives you the risk assessment, the reasoning, the recommendations. It doesn't block deployments. The decision authority stays with your team. But what it does do is it gives you objective data to have that conversation with the business. And here's what carries the elevated risk, and here's what they'd recommend changing, and here's what's happened the last two times that the changes with that profile were pushed out under these conditions. You can configure the guardrails, policies that trigger reviews and workflows require sign-offs or flag changes for human review before they proceed. The business doesn't want to be held responsible for causing an outage, and they will generally back off when presented with data-driven risk information with details on how they can remediate the risk and ensure a problem-free deployment. So this has been really helpful just to really push those discussions, and the whole organization will be better for it.
That's great because we are empowering those teams to make those decisions and giving them that right information. Yeah. This next question is also very relevant. Like, how, can this person is asking, can BigPanda use all of that historical data? There's a ton of old ServiceNow tickets, there's Slack threads, there's Confluence pages. As we talked about those silos, there's so much of information. And so how does BigPanda pull all of that historical context as it's doing these recommendations and scoring?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got what we call the unified data connector, and that allows us to backload a lot of information into the IT knowledge graph. Slack threads, old ServiceNow tickets, Confluence pages, all of that type of information can be brought in. And customers usually bring in between 12 and 24 months of that history so that Incident Assistant can use it from day one.
Awesome. And I think we have time for one more question, and I'll pick this one because I love the skepticism here, but it's a very valid question. Like BigPanda has always seemed like more of an IT ops and an NOC tool. And so is it really built for SRE teams and the scenarios that they want to solve?
Yeah, so it's a fair point, right? BigPanda's roots are in event management and IT ops, and we're the market leader there. As the market has changed, though, so have we, and our platform is now much more broad and able to facilitate a wide variety of use cases, including yours. With AIA, agentic troubleshooting, the knowledge graph, and change risk prevention, teams like yours can realize a significant value with optimized workflows, automation. If you live in Slack, Biggie works natively in Slack. You work in Teams, it works there too. Like ITIL workflows, you can run the entire lifecycle without touching the ITSM if that's how your team operates. The SRE use isn't a stretch. It's where we are deliberately investing, and everything you saw today was designed around one idea. SRE should spend less time as first responders and more time as engineers.
Awesome. Well, folks, with that, we will bring this to a close. Thank you once again for spending your valuable time with us. We hope you found this information useful, and we'll be sending a recording and the deck to everyone who registered. So please feel free to share it with your colleagues. And if there are questions that we couldn't get to, we'll try to respond to those as well, because we would love to continue this conversation. So thank you, everybody, and pleasure having you today.